He knows where we are.
All right, welcome everybody. I'm going to call this special committee of the whole financial plan meeting to order on Tuesday, March 15th. We're going to go through our grant request tonight. The order of the agenda is going to be the grant request in 5 parts, and then we'll do public input, and then budget recap and the deliberation amongst ourselves. So with that, we'll start with item number 1, and I'll look to our Director of Finance to introduce that.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The first series of grant presentations that will be made to council are on the sustainability grants. And this year, in opposition to last year, we'll be going in reverse alphabetical order. So the first organization is the World Fisheries Trust.
So I'd like to call the Fisheries Trust up to the microphone. World Fisheries Trust, sorry.
Hello everyone, my name is Laura Kerback and I'm the Education Outreach Officer at World Fisheries Trust, and this is my coworker Holly Neat, who is the Education Coordinator. World Fisheries Trust is a local nonprofit organization that offers environmental education to the District of Saanich through a variety of community-based initiatives.
One of our most successful educational programs is called Sequoia in Schools, which essentially brings the ocean into schools and schools to the ocean. We feel that hands-on learning is an indisputable way of having people connect with the ocean and create a society of environmental stewards. Sequoia is currently operating in 13 Saanich schools, including Lochside Elementary School, Royal Oak Middle School, and St. Michael's University School. We reach about 12,000 students and staff and their associated families every year. We are asking the Saanich Council to support an additional or an extension of our Sequoia in Schools program, which is the Mobile Sequoia, which involves bringing a large saltwater aquarium into various community events, including the Canada Day on the Gorge celebration and the Saanich Strawberry Festival. We are also hoping to collaborate with Peninsula Streams in May and build upon their Creatures of Habitat program by bringing our mobile Sequoia tank to Colfax Middle School.
So in addition to connecting the communities with the ocean, our Sequoia program, including the Mobile Sequoia, provides opportunity for volunteers. So all of our community education and outreach programs are supported by a dedicated group of over 30 volunteers, many of whom are early career students in the fields of environmental sciences and education. World Fisheries Trust provides this early career stepping stone that allows our volunteers to gain experience and further pursue careers in these environmentally based careers. So with your support with our Mobile Sequoia program, we will be able to support our staff educators, provide further opportunities for volunteers, purchase the necessary educational materials to supplement our programs, and cover the cost of events and programs throughout the District of Saanich this summer. Thank you all so much for your time and consideration.
Any questions from councilors? Councilor Durham.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through you. We don't have a lot of background information on the documentation we've presented to us. We have financials mainly. How long has the organization been in operation?
So the organization has existed since 1990, if correct me if I'm wrong. And it has been, the local domestic work has been built around this Cornerstone Sequoia program. So we've been now,
Are you a chapter of the larger organization?
The Sequoia? Yeah, so the Sequoia in Schools is an initiative that is part of the overall work that World Fisheries Trust does.
So you're a local branch? Okay, I can go on their website.
Yes.
And if there's any information that you can make available more explicitly on programs, etc., in this region that you carry out, how long they've been going, any references, any supporting letters and things, that would be great.
Yes, absolutely. The Sequoia in Schools program has been operating for 17 years across the CRD and SUC included, and we have lots of testimonials from teachers and letters of reference from grants that we've applied for to support that educational program, so we can provide those if needed.
That would be great.
Yes.
Electronically is fine if we can,
Sure.
have a, access, if I have access to a website or something. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Councillor. Some more hands up, Councillors Haynes and Merlin.
Through the mayor. So thank you for the presentation. The schools that you run your programs at, for example, St. Michael's and others, do they make any contribution to your program? And how is that done?
Do you need financial contribution?
Yes.
Yes, so every year, the schools that operate the Sequoia in Schools tanks, they have an aquarium set up in their school, they have purchased the aquarium from us, so they make an initial payment, and then every year they pay an annual fee to have that tank stocked with animals and serviced throughout the year, and we do programs for their students. So every year they pay about $1,400 to be a part of the program, and that gives them the services to keep their tank running and provides all the animals and the programs that we offer their students.
Right. Thank you. And is that, where is that reflected in the grant applications?
Well, the program that we're requesting this money to support is the mobile Sequoia tank, which is slightly separate. It's an extension of Sequoia in Schools. It's virtually the same sort of system, a big aquarium tank with a pump and canisters and everything. But it doesn't operate in schools, it's operating in the community, and the events that we would bring it to don't necessarily pay a fee for this sort of service. We go on our own to provide a public activities or things for people to engage with.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Councillor Merlin.
Thank you very much, Chair. I haven't seen it in here, but the total income and the total expenses that you had the previous year, about
I think I might have put it in there as a $28,000, I think, in total. Is that reflected in the? For project expenses, and I had here 26,900. Is
say that was past year?
Yeah, that was.
What about the year before?
I can provide that if you'd like, but I didn't put that in the application.
Are they about the same, or are they going up?
I think they're very similar. I'd have to check though.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any more questions? Councillor Klein.
Good evening.
First off, I'd like to acknowledge that Polly is a former student of mine from Claremont, so
I didn't know if you recognized me.
Of course I did. Teachers are like elephants. Just a quick question. Looking at that project expenses contribution list. No, I'm so sorry. I thought it was a debit and expenses. My question is wrong based on what I just saw. My apologies. Any more questions? Okay, thank you for your presentation.
I just would like to ask, if I am to follow up with you guys, do I send an email to the same email that I sent the application with further expense reports and letters of support, or how would you
Look to
guys do
staff
that?
for that for an answer.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'd like to invite the next applicant up to the microphone. It's WeBike to talk about their project family cycling jobs.
Hi, good evening, Mayor and Councillors.
Welcome.
My name is Cindy Marvin, and I'm presenting on behalf of WeBike, which is Women's Everyday Bicycling Association. And we're a relatively new organization to the community. We just started last year as a nonprofit. And we are interested in promoting women's cycling, family cycling, children's cycling, and taking advantage of some of the great new infrastructure that Saanich and some of the other municipalities are planning. And I've also heard about a Safe Routes to School program that might be in the works as well, which is really great to hear. So our presentation, our workshop is basically designed to complement those all ages and abilities infrastructure and some of the new programs that Saanich is interested in furthering to help further cycling in the community. So the workshop is designed to bridge the gap between families' desire to ride together more often, and the reality of their concerns around safety and the uncertainty about things like gear options, route planning, age-appropriate cycling, and their children's capabilities and other concerns. So I'll just give you a few more details about the workshops itself. I've designed it so that it's in 5 sessions. One of the sessions is a completely adult session. It would be a cycling course for adults to teach them how to cycle safely on the road. Because I believe that once, in order to ride safely with your children, you need to know how to ride your bike yourself safely on the road. The second session would be an in-class presentation, or about a 3-hour presentation that would talk about a variety of the issues and topics concerning riding with kids. Again, like age-appropriate rides, distance terrain, riding as a group, gear for children of different ages, route selection, all that kind of thing that you don't normally get in a typical cycling instruction class. The third session would be all about gear options. There's so many options out there now for families to ride. There's longtails, there's cargo bikes, there's trailer bikes, there's all kinds of things, but knowing your way around what's available can be a little confusing. So that's basically what this talk is about. So it's a 3-hour talk. The second session is also a 3-hour talk and presentation discussion. The fourth session would be Children's Bicycle Skills and Safety course that's set up to run alongside one of the adult courses so that it runs at the same time. And it would be a 3 to 4 hour course, age and ability appropriate. Safer cycling course for children that includes bike handling skills, road safety basics, bike-based games, that kind of thing. Just to give the children a chance to learn how to handle their bikes more adeptly, and also a little bit of road safety skills as well. Of course, this is age appropriate, and there's very different things available for different age groups. And the fifth session would be a family bike ride and picnic, and we just put it all together and travel to one of the Saanich parks and enjoy a picnic, and the families can practice the skills that they've learned in the workshop. I'm a camp bike instructor myself, so I would be one of the instructors, and all our instructors would be certified. I think that's a good one.
Thank you. Any questions from council? Councilor Ribbon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through you. As you pointed out, you're a new organization, so I presume there's not a lot of track record.
No, we did. We started last year, and last year I did apply for a grant through Via Sport, and we were awarded a $2,000 grant from them. And I ran 2 cycling classes for women, 55 years and plus, which was a requirement of the grant, so it was for older adults. And we had 26 women, and as well, another part of the grant was to I offered a five people community cycling certification workshop. So there's 5 new people in the community that can coach cycling. So that was also part of it. Yeah, and so we did that successfully.
Okay. You've indicated some support or connection to the Greater Victoria Cycling Coalition.
Yes.
I just wondered how you do you mesh with them, with Bike to Work and things like that, or is this fundamentally a separate organization?
No, we make a point of working with GBCC, and we work with Victoria Tastemakers Network as well, and the other organizations in the city. So no, we definitely don't work on our own. We try to complement each other in terms of what we offer and what we do. But we're more of a voice for family cycling and women's cycling and transportation cycling more than recreation as well.
Right. And it is now a kind of emphasis on family cycling. I notice your title says everyday, women's everyday cycling.
Yes, yes.
A little more than that, I presume.
Well, it is. Well, primarily because I guess I learned as a parent that when I had a family, my cycling had to change. And and so the thing is that when you have a family, let's say you have a family of 4 and 2 kids, 2 adults, one of that family might be able to commute to work by bike, but chances are the other parent will be driving the children to school. And so this is something that I would like to see changed, and I would like more support for that. Now, it's not always the woman in the family that is taking the kids to school. Lots of times it's the man. but it's just a parent and a family. So it's important to support family cycling, and that in itself also supports women's cycling. But not just women, we're trying to address the gender inequality in cycling as well, so,
Thank you very much.
okay.
Councilor Plant?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to, is Ms. Martin?
Yes, that's
I'm just curious, I noticed that you are both the applicant as well as, it says lead instructor.
Yes, yeah.
Will the project funds then go to pay you?
Some will go to pay me as an instructor. We also have another instructor and two assistant instructors.
Is the We Bike a nonprofit association?
It is a nonprofit association.
And do you serve on that board?
I do.
Okay. Thank you. But through you, Mr. Mayor, to staff, Mr. Thorkelson or Ms. Tinney, is there policy on recipients using the funds to pay the applicant or if they're a member of the board?
Thank you, through the mayor. I'm just getting a copy of the policy so I can, here we are. If I can take a minute just to look through and confirm if there are any specific provisions on that.
Sure.
If there is, I have no problem stepping down from being an instructor. It's more that I just want the program to happen. And I think that in Victoria there's not a lot of cycling instructors. So we're kind of few and far between being a certified instructor.
Just a second question. How do you promote this to women? How do they become aware of We Bike?
We have a Facebook page, we have a website. We've been to Moss Street Market, the Oaklands Market, we've been to the Sandwich Cycling Festival. In fact, we're invited back again this year. And so we are sort of out there in the community when we can be promoting this.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
I'm sorry, we also do have meetup groups, so we have 378 people in our meetup group that come for rides as well.
I think we have an answer.
Thank you, through the mayor. So it's stipulated that awards will not be provided to individual persons or businesses. This is a formal nonprofit society, so it would fall within what they spend their money on is fine. So there's nothing specifically prohibiting that.
Put Councilor Brown off now, and then Councilor Haynes follows.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I see in your application that there's a request that Sandwich could assist by providing a parking lot or playground locations for bike handling skills at no cost. So I would suggest, it says at no cost, but I would suggest that you could get a hold of community services and see where that could happen.
Right.
And then I'm wondering, have you approached the schools? Because lots of those schools have huge parking lots. I'm thinking Spectrum and places like that.
Yeah, but as I teach, I've taught other courses in the community, and what I discovered was that the school districts charge for the use of their parking lots.
Oh, okay.
So I was charged $80 to use for 2 hours the basketball court, and it would have been over $100 to use the parts of their playground or their parking lot. Yeah, so that is difficult because when you try to offer the courses at a reasonable price that people can pay for, to have to add another $100 for
Yeah, so
for a
I
parking lot
suggest you
rental.
get a hold of our
Yeah.
staff, community services, and see what we can do. Because obviously cycling is a big component of our active transportation. And I look forward to seeing you at the cycling festival.
Yeah, thank you. See you.
Councilor Haynes.
Thank you, Ms. Harley. It's an interesting project. I just have a couple of questions. You ran the program last year for 26 women,
Yeah,
and at that time they would have worn safety vests.
pardon me.
They would have worn safety vests.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. And this year there's safety vests used again,
Yeah.
and they're the property of We Bike, and it says loaned for the event. 24 vests, but there's a charge to it. Is it loaned or rented for the event?
Oh, no, just loaned. It's just something else. I mean, we own them, so we could use them, we could offer them. We wouldn't have to buy them separately for this particular.
I misread it. This is the community contribution, so you have those equipments
Yeah.
and you're lending them. Sorry, I
Yes.
misread. Thank you for clarifying that. Thank you for clarifying that. The ladies that participate, the families that participate, do they pay a participation fee?
I didn't set up the budget to have a participation fee. I mean, I would like it to be available for anybody. The only issue is that sometimes you'll have people sign up for things, and then because there's no fee, they may decide not to come. But we could get around that with a deposit. If somebody puts a deposit down, and then if they show up for the course, they could have a refundable deposit. But I didn't set up the budget to have the fee.
And the facility rental was mentioned for the actual cycling.
Yeah.
But is this the classroom activity as well?
Yes, there's the instructional, the adult cycling class has 3.5 hour in-class session. And then each of the session, 2, 3, the other 2 sessions also have a 3 to 4 hour in-classroom session. So there'll be 9 hours worth of classroom.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any more questions from council? All right, seeing none, thank you for your presentation.
Okay, thank you.
Next, I'd like to invite Sierra Club up to the microphone to talk about their project, Celebrate the Coast Festival.
Good evening. Thank you, Mayor and Council, for seeing me tonight. I'm going to just adjust this a little bit more. I'm really grateful to be here, but I wish it were another day. I have been quite sick the last day or so, so I really hope you'll be gentle with your questions at the end. My name is Larissa Stendy. I'm the Climate and Energy Campaigner for Sierra Club BC. We are a long-standing, almost 50 years, respected science-based conservation organization working to protect BC's natural spaces, inspire generations of local people to inspire nature and their environment, and to now shift to a low-carbon economy. I'm here today to talk with you about a program that we're putting together that we've been in talks with a number of local nations, First Nations, with for a period of months. I've been talking quite a bit with local knowledge keepers from the Wasanich, the Lummi across the other way, as well as the Tsleil-Waututh. With our work, we believe that solidarity and reconciliation work, following the lead of First Nations, is really imperative to building a truly sorry, I should be reading my notes instead of ad-libbing here. We affirm our commitment to working towards reconciliation, and we've proved this time and again with the Pull Together campaign and other works that we've worked with First Nations. What we're proposing is a one-day Celebrate the Coast Festival this spring, and this fills in a number of various Saanich Council guidelines for sustainability funding, which included protecting and enhancing air, water, and land quality, sustaining community infrastructure, energy efficiency, and green technologies. And I recall on January 11th, you guys at a recent council meeting affirmed your commitment to greater reconciliation and celebration of First Nation cultures. Your support of this initiative and this event would really send a strong signal that that is indeed what you are intending to do. So part of this that we envision, and I've already been speaking with a number of knowledge keepers who've done the reef net fishery work, the clam bed restoration work, as well as language resurgency work, and everyone is very eager for the opportunity to come together on something like this. With the Salish Sea Tribal Council, there's a treaty that's been done among the nations, and they are quite interested in bringing nations that are on this side of the waters into that conversation, and this might be an opportunity for us to host something along those lines. In an informal setting, but more in the public interest. This is an opportunity for local people to engage with local First Nations culture in a celebratory, open, fun event. And to that end, we have, as I said, been talking with a number of nations at a bunch of different sites to look at where this might be able to happen. On a secondary note, this isn't just about First Nations, but it's also about the way that First Nations are leading the way in the post-carbon transition. And we can see this with the Sauk First Nation. I've spoken with the Chief Gordon Planis about this, and as maybe you are aware, Sauk First Nation is a leader in post-carbon transition sustainability work within their nation, world recognized, in fact. And for the last year and a half, I've been running a project called The Future is Here in 13 communities across the province, where I've gone in and discussed the ideas and supported local people that are doing various initiatives, whether it's electric vehicles or composting or whatnot. And From what I've read about all the wonderful work that the Saanich leadership has shown on Carbon Champions and the progress on leading by example, as well as their sustainability and climate action plans, I feel like this would be a really good fit because we will also be highlighting all the great stuff that's going on in the Saanich Peninsula. And I feel like your support of this initiative would send a very strong signal on both of those levels. So I await your questions. Thank you.
Thank you. I see Councilor Dermott with his hand up. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through you. I've struggled with this one a little bit. It seems to be more in the nature of a cultural connection to First Nations, which is a very good initiative. But of course, under our sustainability grants, we're being asked to look at small projects that clearly demonstrate the principles of protect and enhance air, water, and land quality, sustain community infrastructure, energy efficiency, and green technologies. You mentioned those things, but I don't see yet a clear connection as to exactly how this project is aimed at those things. You mentioned it was more of a chance for people to engage with First Nations culture.
It would have
That's a very
multiple-
good initiative, but I'm wondering how it fits under this particular grant structure.
Well, the way that we have approached a lot of this kind of work is that these things are intertwined. And we strongly believe that the First Nations are leading the way in terms of a lot of sustainability initiatives just by living closer to the land in a way that we all should be hoping to emulate at some point. What you're speaking to, this program would have multiple deliverables. There would be the component that is the First Nations piece, as well as the component that is the green communities piece. And the interesting bridge...
How would that come?
Well, the interesting bridge is that a lot of First Nations communities like Sauk and a number of others that we've been talking to are leading the way on these programs. And as I said, I have led 13 events in communities across the province where people are hungry to come together to talk about initiatives around green energy and transition work. This is an opportunity to have a festival that would have multiple deliverables achieved, particularly around sustainability in terms of having a booth set up for where local people to showcase what good works they're doing in terms of green energy, electric vehicles, whatever, as well as First Nations arts and culture. So it would be a celebrate the coast. So it's not just First Nations, but it's also First Nations.
Thank you.
Does that satisfy your question? To some degree.
Thank you.
Councilor Brown, and then Bryce.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm wondering if you've thought about talking to the CRD. We have a First Nation personnel person by Sue Hallett is her name, and she is working with First Nations around a number of issues of engagement. And also the CRD has an arts fund. So I'm not sure if you've thought about approaching the CRD.
We have. The timing on their grant site, to my knowledge, was not really advantageous. We're looking at doing this in the spring, as we were instructed by some of our the elders and whatnot that we talked to, that May was a good time for this. And also, we were looking to do it sooner than later. And the thing is, to be honest, this event will happen with or without your support, but with your support, it could be a historic level event by bringing these other nations across from. That's the main part of the funding, is for travel costs to bring elders and different speakers from a greater distance. That's sort of what we're coming to ask around. As well, we can bring higher profile speakers that are, of course, more sustainability oriented. So it does have, like I said, multiple deliverables, but yeah, I have considered that.
Yeah, I'll just restate that the CRD has we've been working very hard with First Nations in the region. We have a special task force. Sue Hallett is our staff person. Marian Alto from the city is the chair of that committee. I would just reiterate, maybe you don't want to approach them without money, but you should probably go to them to do a presentation about the event.
Sure, yeah, I will. Thank you for that advice.
Councilor Bryce.
Both hands. Hold both hands. Anyway, The application, through Mr. Chair, references a celebration, ideally April, you mentioned May. Were you thinking of 2016?
Yeah, we're planning for the end of May.
The reality is that our budgeting would probably not line up with your target dates. I'm just putting that up for you. We go through this review at this point, but we wouldn't ask perhaps through you, Mr. Chair, to Ms. Tinney, when the successful applicants are notified that they are eligible and receiving funding.
Notification of funding is not confirmed until the actual financial plan bylaw has been adopted, which would be just prior to May 15th.
Okay, so, but theoretically, if we were approved, the funding would come shortly thereafter. The thing is we are a large organization, and of course, something like this is sort of specific, and because it sort of falls outside of our regular funding structure, that's why I'm here. Theoretically, if the funds were to be dispersed slightly later in the year, we could probably manage to make that still work. So it's just a matter of making sure that we would be theoretically able to cover the costs, of course. Okay, thank you.
Anything?
Any more questions from council? All right, thank you for your presentation. All right, the next presenter, I'd like to invite the Mount County Community Association up to the microphone. Tell us about their project, installation of a bike repair station.
Hello, Mayor and Council. My name is Jeff Zamlik. I sit on the board of the Mount Ptolemy Community Association, and I'm here to present our small project compared to the other ones that have been presented tonight. I'm here to present a sustainability grant application